Vinyls.
Yeah. You can't say vinyls, though. That's not allowed. Plural vinyl is vinyl.
Vinyl. So sorry. Where's my list of questions? Did I text it to you?
Yeah, you texted me. And I copied and pasted it in my little document.
Oh, can I just look at that?
Well, it has my answers.
That's okay.
All right.
I'm not going to look at your answers. Can you make it bigger because I'm old and blind?
Oh, man. The tricky part is we have to figure out where to deposit the records.
Oh, I have a big space of floor right here.
Okay. I guess so.
I can lean them on the desk, on the thing.
I just want them to be safe and secured.
I promise not to kick them.
Okay. I guess we'll go with that.
Hand me a vinyl. Let's practice. One singular vinyl.
Like that?
Yeah. I'll hold them up right here
You'll
behind
hold
your
them?
head.
Okay. Hit me with it if you want. Sounds about right.
Ooh, now I know one of your answers.
Spoiler. Hello everybody and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle and to our latest episode of the Sunday Shuffle. I've got Jana with me.
Hi.
And this is the show where we basically talk together. Sometimes we shuffle into a song, but we're experimenting a bit with doing more like discussion type videos, which I think is kind of the concept for today. So I'll let Jana take it over.
So all y'all know that Nathan has a vinyl collection. Vinyl is singular, not vinyls. You know he has a vinyl collection, and so I had some questions for him about his collection. I feel like I might have seen other people maybe like answer questions about their collection, so I kind of took a couple questions from here and there and came up with a few on my own as well. And so I'm going to ask him questions. I gave him 10 questions ahead of time so he could pull some of the vinyl out, some of the records out.
There you go.
Some of the records out ahead of time to hold up for any of them that have answers that where it warrants a record. And so we'll just get into it. 10 questions, right? About your vinyl collection.
Okay. Here we go.
Fan noise.
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Oh, that was like panic noise.
No, that was fan noise. I mean, with you, it could be that.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's fan noise, like cheering you on.
Cool.
Yay!
Got it.
Okay. All right, question number 1 is what got you into the hobby of collecting records?
All right.
I see I used records, not vinyl.
Yeah, perfect. That's the correct form. I'm not picky. I don't care if people say vinyls, but I know people online get all upset about
Calm
it sometimes.
down. It'll be all right.
But yeah, I've been into music since I was very young. You know, I really got into music when I was a teenager, like in full force. My dad showed me progressive rock when I was a teenager, and I collected CDs at first, obviously, because that was the main format. And so I had a huge CD habit all the way through like the end of my teens into like my college years, and built up a pretty substantial CD collection. But the world was kind of moving away from CDs into like more of a digital / streaming kind of direction. So I was starting to buy less CDs, getting more into streaming, Apple Music and Spotify. But I felt like I was missing something because that used to be such a big part of my love for music, was the collection aspect. And so I heard a lot of people talking about being excited about vinyl and collecting it. And it got me curious about why people liked it. And it felt nostalgic and interesting. I liked the bigger artwork and a lot of different aspects to it. So I decided to try out a record player. So I bought a record player and just started from there. It was about 2018, I think, somewhere around there. We were
married then.
Yeah. So not too long, been doing it, 7 years almost. And have built up a pretty nice collection, probably went a little too crazy to start things off, trying to like rebuy everything on CD, now on vinyl, but it was a lot of fun.
Good. It was like right about we I think we had just decided to like, let's go all digital, and then like
yeah. And
this
then
happened.
I changed my mind a little bit.
Like,
I just felt like I was missing something. Like, I really love owning the products and having this physical object. And that's why I lean towards vinyl to kind of have this resurgence, because I feel like as a physical format, it's one of the more fun things to collect. I'm not one of those who's like, oh, records sound better than CD.
They don't.
You know, the sound quality debate isn't really what I'm here for. I think if you have the right equipment, either sounds great depending on how you play it, what your system is, your speakers. But, you know, to me, it's just, I like the collectible aspect. It's fun, you know, like have behind me on my wall to, you know.
It's a good background for your
show. It's a cool visual, you know, visual representation.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. I should just do a side note that sometimes I say certain opinions that they're just my opinions, and they'll probably make some people mad, and believe what you want to believe. And I mean, what do I know? Okay.
Right.
All right. So question number 2 is not so much about vinyls, but what musician or concert do you wish you could have attended?
Yeah. So first hearing this, my instinct was to say some of the classic 70s prog bands, because I wasn't alive in the 70s. So, and some of these bands have gone on to kind of tour in newer iterations, but there's something special about kind of their classic lineups, like the classic lineup of Yes from back in the 70s, classic Genesis with Peter Gabriel. Probably the top one for me personally, just my taste, is Gentle Giant, since they ended as a band essentially like in 1980, so they haven't really continued. There hasn't been any formation to see them, except for different projects that they've done.
I knew that.
Yeah, so
they were done. They are done.
Yeah, they are done. Their last album was Civilian, which I believe came out in 1980, and then they disbanded and have not gotten together since. So, but more of the modern prog era, I would have loved Spock's Beard in their prime with Neil Morse when he was in the band. So. And I've kind of been able to see that in a different way. Like they did that Morse Fest where they did Snow Live and came back together for kind of a reunion. So I feel like I did get to see it anyways.
That's the one we went to.
But yeah,
We've only been to one Morse Fest.
Yeah. Yeah, we went to the Morse Fest. I went to the actual concert by myself, but.
Oh yeah, I think I went to the mall.
But yeah, you'd come on the trip for sure.
Good times. Okay. All right. Question number 3 is what is your favorite record of all time that you own?
Yeah, famously my answer, and this is where I finally start showing off vinyl.
Here, I'll hold them.
Yeah, this one is Transatlantic. Has always been what I consider my favorite Bridge Across Forever. It's basically what hooked me into like modern progressive rock and all of the different artists that I hold dear to me. You know, it contains Neil Morse and Roy Stolt, and kind of branched out and let me get into all their side bands, Mike Portnoy, obviously, and Pete Travis. So to me, this is kind of the starting point of my obsession, and still is considered to me
this is your favorite record of all time.
Yeah, it's just a brilliant record.
Did I buy this one for you?
No, I bought this for myself.
A different Transatlantic.
Yeah.
I bought an orange one.
Yeah, the Whirlwind, I think. Yeah. Which, you know, right up there with this one. So that would probably be in my top 5 favorites as well.
Yay. Okay, question number 4. What was the first record that you bought?
Yeah.
In this new, like, modern age?
I believe when I bought my record player, I bought one record alongside it, and it was this one. You know, considering there's going to be a theme here, I love Neil Morse. He's like my favorite artist, so I had to. This was like the album that I could find available of his on vinyl at the time. So
you're like, if I'm going to buy one, it has to be Neil Morse.
Yeah, pretty much. And so this is one of my all-time favorite albums, and I had to have it. So Testimony by Neil Morse.
Yay. Nice. Okay. Question number 5. What is the oldest record you own?
Yeah, so I'm not sure I interpreted this right, but I just took it to mean basically the year in which the album was originally released, right?
Okay.
Which
I did not give caveats on this or little side notes of how to interpret it. So it's however you want to interpret it is fine.
Because after thinking about it, it could have been like, because sometimes I'll buy some used records that are actually from like the original period that they were recorded in, but this is actually kind of a re-released version. So the actual record itself is more modern, but that original album of the Beatles, Rubber Soul, came out back in 1965. So that would probably rate as the oldest. My tastes tend to veer to the 70s and beyond, so I don't have many 60s and earlier records in my collection.
Staring you down.
But I'm a huge Beatles fanatic, so my dad got this for me recently, actually.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this past Christmas.
Something like that. Or my birthday, this past birthday.
Oh, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, because he paired it with a concert we were going to, which didn't end up panning out, but...
Was that that was the one you guys got in the car accident.
Yeah. So we were going to see the Fab Four in LA, and we got rear-ended and had to take care of that and weren't able to make the concert. So
do I know any of these songs? Shh, don't tell. I don't know if I do. I didn't recognize any by the titles.
Yeah. Well, there's probably a couple you'd know. But
yeah, maybe. Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Question number 6.
Yeah.
What was the hardest album to find?
Yeah, this was trickier than you might expect, because my experience buying records is a little different, I think, than a lot of people, because I just kind of order new records that come out. I don't really look for old, like, rare classic records or anything like that. So, but my answer is basically two that you bought.
Yay!
Because I feel like you always try for, like, a birthday or
I
Christmas
try to get you a really
to try
cool
to
one.
find a cool record that I have trouble finding on my own or that's harder or more expensive. Recently, this one, Big Train's Folklore.
Oh, yeah.
That was hard to find, this record.
I found it on, what's that website?
Discogs?
Discogs, yeah. Discogs. I found it on Discogs, and it turned out to come from Pasadena, which is like
really
45
close,
minutes away from us, 40 minutes away. All
Yeah.
the love to Pasadena, Altadena, and all the other folks affected by fire. So, but yeah, it came from there, and I got this for you for your birthday, right?
Yeah.
This was like the big surprise gift.
Yeah, it was a big surprise.
I felt really proud of this one, and I paid a lot of money for it.
It was like the missing piece of my Big Train collection, because I could never find it on my own, so, or at least didn't want to pay the prices, but I guess you were willing to.
I mean, yeah, I'll do anything for you, babe.
Oh, that's sweet. And also,
I did it twice. Then,
I pulled it out for this one too. The Spock's Beard, Brief Nocturnes and Dreamless
I bought
Sleep.
this one too?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So
I don't remember.
That was cool. And maybe even, I think, a couple other Spock's Beard ones too you've done.
I've tried to get you a couple different
ones. So
you once sent me a list of like all the ones that you didn't have, and I'm like, I feel like you should have all the Spock's Beard stuff.
Yeah, Spock's Beard's ultimately my favorite band, and I still am missing a lot of their original record. I don't have The Light. I don't have Day for Night and 5 and Snow.
For now.
So those are all on my bucket list. Don't have them quite yet. Hoping they'll reissue all of them at some point, really. But or find them super expensive on Discogs.
Somewhere and buy you one a year.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, question number 7. What album was the biggest surprise find in a record shop?
Yeah, this was a little bit difficult as well. Because I don't know if I've bought any, like, most of the records that I've bought online, that are more of my niche proggy taste, I bought online through different vendors, so not in a record store itself. Mostly I buy more classic records that are pretty easy to find elsewhere. The one that stood out to me from recent memory was I found Jordan Rudess, his solo record, The Road Back Home, I believe it's called, or The Road Home.
The Road Home.
Yeah. And it's him doing a bunch of like classic prog covers, and I've always liked the record a lot. One of the tracks even features Neil Morse on it, so of course I'm going to like that.
Piece of the pie, and pie's the symbol pie.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, yeah, he's the keyboardist of Dream Theater, just a total wizard at the keyboard. And
he has lots of of guest stars.
Yeah.
Nick DiVirgilio.
Yeah.
Ricky Garcia. Rod Morgenstein.
Morgenstein, yeah.
I'll stop there. Sorry.
Yeah, so
And you found this in a record shop? Do you remember what shop?
It was in Rhino Records.
Ooh, Rhino Records in Claremont.
Yeah.
Or Montclair.
So I was surprised. I mean, I don't know if it's that like crazy to find that, but anytime I find any weird prog kind of thing, especially modern prog, I'm pretty excited. So
cool. Question number 8. Is there an album you regret buying?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, why did I do this?
So I was actually pleasantly surprised looking through my collection that there isn't really many candidates for this. I think I've done pretty well. There's probably some I might have reconsidered on second thought, but I still like the record. It's just I try to hold to a pretty strict code of what is worthy of being on vinyl, especially newer releases. This was actually kind of a mistake, and that's why I said it's a regret.
Oh, no.
The Who Quadrophenia soundtrack.
Whoa. Why is this a mistake?
Because I was looking for Quadrophenia, the album. This is
music from the soundtrack.
Of the film. So it's not really songs from that album. It's more like from a soundtrack. So there's different songs from different artists, more of a compilation kind of thing.
That's not the same at all.
Which, is cool in its own right, but I actually wanted Quadrophenia, that their like masterpiece album that came out back in the 70s, so
I'm reading the back. There's a definition of quadrophenia.
There you go.
Cool. I didn't know there was a Who movie.
Yeah, apparently there is. I didn't really know. That's why I bought this with no idea that there was a soundtrack.
And you got it and you're like, wait, what the? That's not what I wanted at all. All right. Yeah. Question number 9. Right?
Yeah.
9. Do you have a go-to album or artist for road trips?
And I'll really listen to anything on the road. I listen to lots of music in the car. Like, that's a big way I listen to music. So I wasn't quite sure, but I thought, like, when you're on a road trip, you want some good, like, classic rock, right?
Yeah!
So Boston, their self-titled record,
Boston!
is just fabulous and perfect for a road trip, I think. It's just, like, classic pure rock and roll, and I just love it.
I know some of these songs.
Yeah. I mean, we did the album on our like classic albums show, I think.
So I've heard all these songs.
Yeah.
I'm such a fan. I am a fan. I like this stuff. I like classic rock. I think it's really fun. So. And
for a more modern I did pull out a second thing, was Von Hertzen Brothers, just for something newer that just came out recently. The album's called In Murmuration. And it's kind of the modern equivalent. It's, there's some progginess to it, but this album in particular, I felt more like a classic rock kind of vibe. Just really cool, like, driving music. I thought about DiVirgilio, Morrison Jennings stuff also.
If you're in the car with me, that's a great one.
That's a great go-to for
road trips. Like, that's always going to be with me.
Yeah, so
you got to play stuff.
Stuff that you're into. So that came to mind. Would be good for a road trip together. I think this and the Boston as well are albums you'd like. So I was kind of thinking along those lines of what's just classic, good rock music and, stuff that you would like. So solid
choices.
Yeah.
Question number 10. Do you have guilty pleasure artists? Meaning an artist that you don't really tell people that you love? But now you're going to tell people?
Trying to, like, out me. No, I'm just kidding. Not too much. I'm pretty, like, well ingrained into the prog stuff, to be honest. Like, there isn't many options. But looking at my record collection, there's a couple of, like, outliers. And I wouldn't say these are, like, artists that I love on the same level as, like, the prog bands that I talk about. But I do enjoy their music, and enough to go out and buy a record from them. So, this is more in kind of a modern pop vein, but I have Billie Eilish's record.
Billie Eilish.
So I like her music. I like her previous album to this one. I think she's really talented and brings kind of a coolness to modern pop music.
She's really great.
So I really respect that. And I also have quite a few, Taylor Swift records.
Yeah!
So
Woo!
I pulled out a bunch, so we could do a round table here. So that's Taylor Swift. I think that's Evermore.
Evermore.
And then I also have Red.
Red,
Taylor's version of Red.
Taylor's version.
So I just think she's really cool.
She's cool.
She has great singer-songwriter abilities. She writes good songs. So
she writes all her music. She plays all her songs.
Yeah, so
she's got talent.
I thought those were fun to pick up, and but outside of those, my record collection's pretty much what you'd expect. You know, classic rock, prog, you know, some modern rock stuff. But yeah, guilty artists. I don't know. There's maybe guilty pleasure like styles. Like I like kind of, you know, R&B funk kind of stuff sometimes, and sometimes I like more indie pop, and you know, I try to explore and dabble. I really like bluegrass a lot of times, like Punch Brothers and things like that, which I don't know if that's like a guilty pleasure. You know, but just things outside of my wheelhouse a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, good. So, cool. Question number 11, and the last question, right?
Yeah.
All right. What is your favorite album art? So what's your favorite album art that you own?
I pulled out two possible candidates. One, I've always really liked this one by the Moron Police.
Yes.
Just because it's so vibrant and colorful, and like all the animals.
I'm pretty sure this is the one that I said was the pretty-est one in your album collection.
That's partly why I grabbed it, because I agree.
Because you know I love it. Oh, yeah, and you agree. Moron Police. Are they policing the morons? Or are they morons that are police?
It could be either way. But I've always also really liked this cover of Pendragon. This is Love Over Fear. Just beautiful. I don't know. I just really...
And the back, too. Look at that.
I think that's pretty. I even like it so much I bought like this version of it, too.
Purple!
Gives it in like a purple... That's the acoustic version of the album, so... but it has, you know, same artwork, but in a different shade, so...
Hold on. Wait.
I thought those are cool, and I just like how they look. Just, you know, nice artwork. It's pleasing.
This is so
so natural and smooth to show these off.
I did pretty good.
Yeah, not too bad.
And you did great too. I mean, you know, you answered all the questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear a little bit about your album collection, and I thought that could be interesting to share that with people. Do you, out there, all of you, do you have answers to these same questions?
Yeah, I'd love to hear your responses.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah.
So I'll let you close it out. You're more used to that.
All right. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for all your support on the channel. Hopefully you appreciated this episode. And as Jana mention in the comments how you feel about record collecting and your answers to any of these questions. That would be a lot of fun to see in the commentary. So thank you guys, and hopefully you'll catch us in a future episode. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Enjoy the music.